Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Evolve Love. Happy Tuesday. I am so glad you are here because I really feel that today's episode is going to be very supportive of you. And if you haven't already listened to the Monday episode, I definitely recommend doing that because Mondays are the day that really sets the tone and kind of creates the theme for everything that we're building in this week ahead here on Evolve Love. And Mondays was really deep this week. So definitely recommend listening to that. But today's Tuesday. Today is Mars Day. It's our action day. And we're going to be taking action on the items that we began discussing yesterday. So just a brief overview to kind of like get us back to where we're at. We really dove into the breaking of negative thought loops, critical, controlling thinking patterns, and just really taking a look at when we allow our thoughts to get the best of us. So last week, we were always really working on the past. We were working on honoring the past. And this week, I wanted to step into the present. And with the present time, something that can happen is just these cycle of thoughts that go through our mind, especially negative ones. And so in today, we are going to take a look at that log we started Monday. And if you haven't done that yet, that's okay, because we can take note of it today as we go. But looking at the times where our mind begins to, I'm going to say spiral. When your mind begins to spiral or you are set off into a negative narrative or a critical loop or judgmental thinking, we're trying to figure out when these instances happen. So what triggers that? What are you doing in that moment that allows your mind to go now into these stories, into these words that really are harming our vibration in the sense that it's pulling us down? So when we're talking about lower vibration, lower frequency, we're talking about the emotions that really pull us down. So like anger, rage, frustration, depression, these very heavy emotions. They're so heavy that they literally pull us down. And sometimes it's because of the looping of thought that we continue to do from a triggering episode. So like, for example, say we have a triggering episode happen. We could either have the choice to like step ahead of that and say like, this is not for me right now. I'm going to take a different path. We could continue that and begin to what I call the spiral of negative narratives and loops. Or we could be like, I need to sit with this and I need to work with this. So there's, and I'm sure there's other directions too, honestly. But there's so many ways that we can take these episodes. But the one we're going to really try to avoid is the one where we go down the path of spiraling. Because what happens with that is a lot of the time we begin these narratives or these ideas or these what if scenarios that truly are not even going to happen or haven't happened and maybe won't ever happen. But in our body, we're feeling as if they have or will happen because it's all we're focusing on, and we're allowing that concept to pull us into that negative narrative. So in today, with looking at the log that you created yesterday, or again, like if you haven't, that's okay. We're going to take a look at when a triggering point happens or like when a moment happens. How can we shift to a healthier, a brighter, a lighter frequency, if at all possible? And so we are going to then step in with some of these tools as our action items. So trigger, action item. That's what we're doing today. And so some of the ways that have helped me the most when I'm in these cyclical patterns of thought is what I'm going to share right now, my tools, tips, and tricks. So number one is the awareness, okay? First of all, you are aware that you have this feeling. You recognize it. And then we begin to look at how are we going to now shift this? So like, do you feel really angry? Do you want to continue to get even angrier or whatnot? But the awareness is the key point here, because the first question is, what do you want to do with this? What do you want to do with this feeling right now? And for me, things that I have done to shift is, okay, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to get moving, even if it's around my house. And during that walk, I'm going to be really aware of what's around me. So I'm not going to try to be in my head. I'm going to try to look around. I'm going to see the refrigerator. I'm going to see the couch. If I'm outside, I'm going to see the tree. And then even getting into other senses. And we've done an exercise like this here on Evolve Love as well. But listening to the birds, listening to the wind, smelling something in the air, whatever it is, a sensory experience can really help us to bring ourselves back to what is around us versus what we begin to think off in our minds of, okay? Other things that help me a ton are affirmation work. You could search any type of affirmations playlist you want on Spotify, YouTube, or anything. There are so many resources out there, and it could be specific for anything you want. So it could be like affirmations for when you're having a bad day, affirmations for money, affirmations for self-development and growth, affirmations for love, for self-love. The path that you take with that is endless. And at first, affirmations might not feel that like particularly exciting because you're like, okay, I'm just listening to this person say, I am this, or I have this, or whatever it is, right? But over time, really listening to these and believing it. Like when you hear these affirmations, you picture yourself as these affirmations. You don't picture it as some random person that you're listening to telling you these things. You imagine yourself saying them, or you do say them, and you try to embody them. And for me, that always helps me to shift. I remember in pregnancies, I really, due to difficulty, prior, I had a hard time feeling ever safe in a pregnancy. I felt like I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. And so for me, I could easily go down the path of the mind spiral of oh, if this isn't going to work out again, this and da-da-da-da-da. But for me, what really helped was listening to affirmations specific for whatever trimester I was in. And to just know that in this moment, I was having a beautiful experience and experiencing a miracle happening in my body. And so for me, that was very helpful. Other things that I find really helpful too are listening to healing frequencies. So on Spotify, I believe it's spiritual frequencies, but I could be wrong. But you could look up frequencies for healing, frequencies for sleep. There's so many different playlists out there, again, that you could listen to. And for me, when we think about frequency work and what I know of it is that, that frequency that the music is being emitted at creates a response within our body. And I like to think of it as we are made up primarily of water. Okay. So if you're seeing the effect of an action go into a body of water and you see the ripples on the surface, that's just what's happening within your body. So these sound waves going through the body are helping to shift our frequency from that lower state to that higher state. And you can work with different levels of frequencies, and different frequencies mean different things. There are also frequencies that are connected to the different chakras within the body. So that's a really beautiful one too. But again, if you're doing it with intention. So as you're listening to these frequencies, you are imagining yourself stepping into what it is that you're trying to shift. You're feeling love within your body. You're feeling joy. You're feeling whatever it is you're trying to shift into. So today, these were my tips. Okay. So first is the awareness. You could go for a walk. You could listen to affirmation. You could listen to healing frequencies. But with this, the whole idea is to notice when we're going into a negative thought pattern. And how can we shift this? How can we help us to keep our bodies in a state of frequency that feels good for us? and that keeps us on a good path for our day. So I hope today's ideas and tools help you to make a shift when you're needing. And if anything, like always, we're just noticing. We're taking note of these things, because if not, we could easily allow ourselves to spiral a lot of the time, and that never feels good, right? So these are just ideas that we're working with and bringing awareness to. So I'm so looking forward to checking in with you through the rest of this week with our topic. And I really, like I said in the beginning, I really hope that this is supportive for you. I hope it helps you, and I hope that it encourages you in your day. So I want to thank you all so much for your listens and support. It means the world to me. Don't forget to follow my Instagram @_evolvelove, because I'm really trying to share a lot more there. And I hope that all the material that I share there is just as supportive as the podcast space is. So I want to thank you again so much, and I'll check back with you tomorrow.